Hey guys, it's Carla from the Paper Trail. Thank you for being here. Today I'm going to take this empty frame and turn it into a nice wall hanging. The frame itself is actually very good quality. It does have a little nick out of it in the corner, which I assume is why it was at the thrift store. But this is a very heavy-duty frame, a very heavy frame. It's got a lot of detail in it, but it's not necessarily a pretty color, and like I said, it does have that little chip out of it, which I'll take care of later. So right now I'm making some chalk paint. What I did is mix up acrylic paint to the shade that I want, and then I added a teaspoon of plaster of Paris, and that's a homemade chalk paint. It sticks very well because of the plaster of Paris. It sticks very well to the surface. So I'm going to paint this whole frame and make sure I get down into the crevices and everything, which with this frame there's some deep crevices, but I'm going to make sure I cover it all and then let it dry. And now with white wax, I'm going to brush over it and really get down into the crevices and cover the whole thing with this. And then once I've covered it, I'm going to wipe it with a damp cloth, and that will take off most of the wax, but it'll leave it down into the crevices. So I've done that there, and that gave me a nice color for my frame. And so now I'm going to create some art inside the frame. So this is just an old, this is old sheet music, and when I say old, it's old. The paper is very dry and crackly, but which makes it easy to do this. I'm just using the end of a paintbrush to kind of tear around the edges to fit the opening. And I meant to tell you, this glass was fixed in there, like you couldn't get it out without breaking it out. So I've decided to just use that as my surface to put my artwork on. So I've got that torn to fit. And then what I want to do is, with a glue and water mixture, I'm going to go over the whole thing, because this will seal that wax in for one thing, and it will give me the glue I need to kind of decoupage my sheet music on. So I'm doing the frame first so that when I put my sheet music on, my glue will still be wet. So I've done the whole frame, and now where my sheet music is going to go, I want to make sure that that's good and covered. And then I want to cover it again with glue. This glue and water mixture is, it's almost half and half. It's probably a little more glue than water, but it's almost half and half. All right, now my glue is still wet, and I want to do this while it's still wet so that it will stick. So this is just streamer, so it's crepe paper, and I'm cutting off a strip of it and kind of twisting it and scrunching it to make it more solid. And I'm going to make some rosettes on just right on top of the glue. So if you imagine where your flower pot is going to be, you'll know where to put your roses. And so I'm twisting them around. I started in the center, twisting around and going out. And every now and then I switch directions of my twist so that it kind of gives it more texture and dimension. And I'm going to make several of these roses, and some are going to be bigger, some are going to be smaller, so that it'll look more natural. You don't want them all the same size. And because my background is still wet, this is sticking to it. Now after I've done a few roses, it's going to start to dry. So now I'm brushing on some more paint. And not just because it's dried, but because I want some paint on top of my flowers too. That will help seal them in, and it'll help me to be able to layer, to put more roses on top of those roses. So that'll give it more dimension. So now everything's nice and wet again. So I'm going to continue with my roses. I do want to make sure that I layer some of them. I don't want them all just flat against the back, because it will look more natural if they overlap. This crepe paper is very easy to work with. Alright, so I've got all my roses all layered on there. And now I'm going to start on my flower pot. So this is just like cereal box cardboard. So I'm cutting one side at an angle and then deciding how wide it needs to be. And then I'll fold that angle over and use it as a template for the other side so that it's so that they match. And now I want a rim for the top of the flower pot. So I'm cutting another strip. And I want to get it the right length for the top of the pot. And now I want to fold it over. So I'm just folding it in half. And then I'm going to kind of loop it over the top of the pot and glue it down on both sides. Now I just want to cut off those little edges. Now I'm just giving it a little bit of a curl to shape it more like a flower pot. And I've decided to put a little stamp on it just because I don't want it to be plain. Alright, now I'm taking the skewer stick and kind of fluffing my flowers, and that gives them more dimension, it gives them more depth, and when this glue dries, they'll be formed that way. So they'll be kind of stiff. So you want to make sure that before you let the glue dry that you fluff them the way you want them fluffed. And now I'm going to glue on either edge of the pot. Okay, and now for that chip out of the corner up there. I'm going to cover it with a shabby bow. So I've just got strips of torn fabric, different lengths. And I'm going to glue this bow up there on top of where that chip is out of it. And I really like the way this turned out. In fact, I've got it hanging in my guest bathroom because I really like it. And I'm using Titebond for this because I'm gluing it to the frame, and I think Titebond will hold it better than the other glues. So there it is, guys, and I hope you like it, and thank you so much for watching, and God bless.